Hey everyone, and welcome to my newest recent video game pickup video. This is of course the March edition, and without further ado, let's jump onto the games. I bought one game for the PC during March, and it's actually a game that has been out a very long time, available only by, download only, digital copy only, and they brought out a retail physical copy, so I just had to buy it, and that is of course the Binding of Isaac. This is the Unholy edition. It comes with an art book, a poster, and a soundtrack, and the music in the Binding of Isaac is of course amazing. It's from the same creators as Super Meat Boy, which I also bought a retail copy of, as well as the digital download copy that I bought from Xbox Live Arcade. So it's always nice to have. Great game. Also bought two games for the PS3 during March. That's Hyperdimension Neptunia Mark II. This is the European version, of course, and it's still sealed. Haven't played it. Haven't had time with one of these massive JRPGs, but I'll get around to it eventually. And the other game is, of course, Tales of Grace's F. This is the American version, as it hasn't been released in Europe yet. But I've heard it's supposed to release here in during summer, sometime in June, I think. But just to be on the safe side, I imported a copy before they become all too rare and expensive. So I haven't tried it out yet, but I've heard from a lot of people that it's actually very good. So I'm looking forward to try that one out. Also bought quite a few games for the Nintendo DS. I mean, the Nintendo DS is a marvelous system. It's been out quite a long time, so of course there's a lot of games on the system. And I miss quite a few. I still have a ways to go to sort of complete the DS collection that I wanted. I don't want all the games, but of course I want all the games that I'm interested in, and maybe then some. The first game I bought was Metal Slug 7, and I love Metal Slug, and it was really cheap, so I couldn't pass this one up. But they're pretty similar, all Metal Slug games, so if you've played one, you know what to expect. Also bought Golden Sun, Dark Dawn. This is the European version, of course, with these big cases, and haven't tried it yet. I just received it a day or so ago, but I really liked or rather loved the Golden Sun games on GBA, so I'm actually looking forward to try it out. Also bought Infinite Space, which is one of those games that I really wanted for a long time but never got around to buy. So now I bought it and I really want to try it out. Epic space RPG, sort of. And also bought Sands of Destruction, which is an American game. It was never released here in Europe. And I haven't tried it, and I've heard that it's not the best RPG around, but I actually kind of like the art style, so I'm really looking forward to trying it out. Also bought a game for the Super Famicom, the Japanese Super Nintendo, if you will, and that is the Violinist of Hamelin. I don't know if this is all too rare or expensive, but I don't see it all that often, and it's a great little anime side-scroller platform game. That is made by Enix. I've never watched the anime or read the manga or anything, but it's got a really nice art style. It's bright and colorful, and the you know, you don't really need to know Japanese to play this game, since this is a side-scrolling platformer. And I really wanted to add it to my collection since it's in, you know, perfect and mint condition. It's all in here. So that was really nice, and it was quite expensive as well. Not overly so, but sort of. Also picked up a game for the Game Boy Color, and it was dirt cheap, and I really don't know what to expect. I think this game is on the N64. Rather, I know this game is on the N64 when I think about it. It's Space Station Silicon Valley for the Game Boy Color. I got this for, you know, almost next to nothing. And it's complete and in great condition. So I kind of need to dust off my old Game Boy Color or use the Game Boy Player or something to check this one out, to see what it is. But it looks like a platform game, so yeah. Also bought a couple of games for the PSP. Every Extend Extra. This is the, yeah, it's the first version for the PSP, and it's from the creators of Lumines, and I actually prefer Lumines to this. But it's quite nice. It's a sort of a puzzle shooter rhythm game. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's, you know, Lumines is the better game, I think. But it's not bad at all. Also bought Patapon 2. I already have the first one, so now I'm just missing the third one, which I have to pick up at some time because I really like this game. There are pretty hectic rhythm games with a gorgeous art style. So yeah, love Patapon. Also bought the Japanese PSP game Strikers 1945 Plus, and this is of course a shoot 'em up in the 1945 series, and it's quite good. I wouldn't say it's the best shoot 'em up around, and definitely not the best shoot 'em up on the PlayStation Portable. I still think the Gradius collection is a pretty solid shoot 'em up for the PSP. But it's, you know, it's 1945. It's great fun, but I don't think it's one of the best shoot 'em ups for the system. No way. For the 3DS, I picked up one game this month, and like most people, I picked up Kid Icarus Uprising, and it came with this little plastic stand, and I haven't been able to play all that much. I think I just played a couple of levels, but I was blown away by how good this game looks. It had a very gorgeous art style, and you know, the graphics looked very good. I wasn't really expecting that. And the music is of course phenomenal. Remix tracks of the originals and some new tracks of course as well. I haven't tried out the multiplayer yet, but I've heard the multiplayer is quite addicting, so might have to try that one out soon. And of course a lot of games for the Xbox 360, since it's well, when it comes to multi-platform releases, I usually buy them on the 360, and that's basically just because I am pretty much an achievement whore. I never really got into the whole trophy thing, probably because they introduced the trophy aspects too late, and I was already hooked on achievements by then. And of course the most important thing is, I think the Xbox 360 controller is it's a lot better than the PS3 controller, which is basically, you know, the PS2 controller and so forth. My absolute favorite controller is the GameCube controller. I still think that one is the nicest one to hold in your hands. And I think the Xbox 360 is the closest one of the current gen systems to mimic the GameCube controller. So I really like it. The only part of the controller that is not all that great is the D-pad. But to be honest, it's not used all that often, and if I'm playing an arcade game, a typical arcade game where the D-pad is, you know, perhaps the way it's meant to be played, I can always hook up my my arcade stick, because I like playing arcade games with the arcade stick, shoot 'em ups and stuff. So yeah, that's why I usually just pick up games I collect for both PS3 and 360, and of course exclusives. And the PS3 has some really good exclusives. It's, you know, you really have to own a PlayStation 3, because otherwise you will be missing out. Really good exclusives. Anyway, the first 360 game I have here is, of course, Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and this is a special edition. It wasn't all that special to be honest, but it came with some, you know, gems. You can use gems to power up your characters in this game, and a few of them came in the special edition, so you don't need to unlock them or buy them, or, you know, whatever. Which is pretty funny actually, that you can buy gems that gives you greater advantages in a fighting game. That blows my mind. And it came with sort of a piggy bank arcade, paper arcade, which was kind of silly, but it's, you know, it wasn't all that much more expensive than the usual copy, so I bought it anyway. And to be honest, I was really looking forward to this game, and you know, it's a gorgeous game. The soundtrack, the very thought of having Street Fighter characters fight Tekken characters is awesome. And I am a Street Fighter player. I'm not much of a Tekken player at all. I know we played a lot of Tekken 3 back in the days, Tekken 2 and Tekken 3, on the PlayStation 1, but that was mostly because there was no Street Fighter game, or rather other 2D fighting game coming out of this at that time. It was all about the 3D craze with Virtua Fighter, Soul Calibur, Tekken and all that stuff. And you have to remember that I never owned a Dreamcast, which was the only platform that had the Street Fighter 3 that came out later, which was an amazing game, of course. But I got a Dreamcast when, you know, pretty much almost when the system was about to die. But I love my Dreamcast. There's a lot of great games there, a lot of Japanese exclusive shoot 'em ups and stuff. Anyway, back to this game. I was a little bit disappointed, and that's basically just because I suck at it. I think it was too juggle heavy, and a bit too aggressive, perhaps. I think the perfect blend for me is Super Street Fighter 4, or, you know, Street Fighter in general, because it's not all too aggressive and it's not all too defensive either, if that makes any sense. I just thought that you know, you can get juggled to death in this game, and I didn't feel like training in this game. I didn't feel like getting better at it, actually, because I didn't like this fighting system at all, with the gems and the supers and the tags and the. But I still feel it's a great game to just play with. I've been playing a lot with friends, and we'll be sitting in the couch here and playing together, and that's great. But going online and just getting ass-handed by a insane juggle is. I didn't really like it. I'll stick to Street Fighter and Blaze Blue and stuff like that. But it's still nice to own it, because you know, crossovers is always amazing. And when we're talking about crossovers, I would like to just tell you that my favorite crossover is actually Capcom versus SNK, the second one, to be perfectly honest, which I think it was a perfect blend of SNK and Capcom at its finest. And there was no insane, you know, juggles in that game, I think. But I think the juggling thing and the wall bouncing and everything is something they brought over to appease Tekken fans, because I think I've not played a lot of Tekken, so I stand corrected if anyone wants to comment on this, but I think it's you know, they don't hurl fireballs and stuff like in Street Fighter, and getting in a lot of combos and air juggles is probably the key to winning in Tekken. So I think they added that to, you know, appease both Street Fighter and Tekken fans. But don't quote me on that. Also bought an American 360 game, actually, Jurassic the Hunted, I think, yeah. And this is the budget game that was brought out by Activision, and yeah, it's sort of like Turok the Dinosaur Hunter. You know, you're just shooting centipedes and giant bugs and dinosaurs and, you know, all that good stuff. And it's supposed to have the most hilarious B-movie acting like ever. And I actually got this for cheap, and as I have an American Xbox 360, I said, you know, why not? There was someone here in Sweden who had bought this game while in America, I think, and he didn't, you know, understand this whole region thing. It was probably his parents that bought him this game. So when they found out it didn't work, they added this to, you know, an auction site here in Sweden, and no one, you know, bid on it, because I don't think all that many people are interested in it or have an American 360. So I got it for, you know, next to nothing. And yeah, might have to check that one out later, but there's a lot of good stuff to play, so it's not my highest priority at the moment. Also bought Blades of Time, and this was also very cheap. It's a budget title, and it's from the same developer that made X-Blades. I think they Gaijin or something, and it's put out by Konami. And I haven't played it, so I won't or rather can't tell you what I think about it, but maybe I should start doing some video blogs, or rather vlogs, on what I've been playing to give you some impressions, but I haven't played this one yet, so of course I can't do that. But it hasn't received the best of scores. Usually I don't give a shit about scores, but a lot of people do give a shit about scores, and yeah, I always like to find out, you know, for myself if the game is good or not. As long as you know what kind of genres you like, you can always, you know, get a feel for if you would like the game or not. Okay, on to the heavy hitters. Armored Core 5. Love this game. This is of course a From Software game, and it's quite different from the other Armored Core games, as it's online. It's like online only almost. You can do stuff offline, but it's meant to be played online, where everything you do is logged. You create a team or join a team with other players, sort of a clan, and everything you do gives you team points, which builds up your team level, gives you it gives you more stuff to buy in the shop, so you can customize your AC, your Armored Core, your mecha, in whatever way you want. And at the higher level you have the better parts you can buy. And also the big thing is, of course, you can all the clans can claim territories on the world map. So if you claim a territory on the world map, your team emblem will be visible on the world map, and the other teams can see what territory you hold, and they can try to invade that territory, and you can try to defend it, of course. And you can customize your territory with, you know, what kind of guns you want there, and where you want them to be pointing. It's actually, it reminds me a lot of Chrome House, of course, which is another From Software games, From Software game, which was the servers were taken down some time ago, sadly enough. But this is sort of like the new Chrome Hounds with an Armored Core skin. And it's really good. The problem is, we made an all-Swedish team, and we've had a lot of problem with people joining us, since a lot of people tend to buy the PS3 version, which is fine. I'm going to buy that one as well, since I collect From Software games. But when it comes to communication and team play, I think the Xbox 360 is the way to go, because not everyone on the PS3 has a mic. Actually, to be honest, almost all the games I've tried on the PS3, there was like one guy out of an entire team on both sides that had a mic, and he was just singing the whole time. On the Xbox 360, of course, you get the singers and the random assholes, but most people actually have a headset, and you kind of need that if you're going to be successful in this game. If you need to coordinate as a team, when you go on missions, you can have 5 people with you. 4 people can participate in the action, and 1 person can actually take the role of an operator. And as an operator, you see the entire map, and you can see where the enemies are heading, and you can see where your teammates are heading, and you can add waypoints to your teammates, and you can talk to all your teammates at once and say, oh, you're getting flanked at point B, you might want to send some backup, and stuff like that. Which is, communication is key, of course, if you want to be a top tier player in Armored Core. And sadly, we haven't had all that many members yet, but we're still about level 60, I think, and we actually have 1 or 2 territories, last I checked. So we're doing okay, but we're not going to be a top tier player if we don't get any reinforcement. But a really great game. I think this is one of those games I'm going to be playing for quite a long time. I'm not all into multiplayer games like Halo and Call of Duty and stuff like that. I usually play Halo for the single player campaign, and I don't really play, multiplayer all that much. I might try a match or 2. But this is one of those games that it got a lot of stuff that I like, giant robots, customization, check. And you get a very personal feel to your AC. And of course, the whole thing by grabbing territory and stuff is insanely addicting. So yeah, I really recommend this if you want some nice robot action going on in multiplayer. It's not the most easy game to get into, since a lot of it is trial and error. You have to find things out for yourself, and the manual is, hopeless. But if you played at least one Armored Core game before, you know what to expect. It's not rocket science, but you have to invest some time in it to be good at it. So, yeah, really recommend this. This is probably one of my favorite game pickups. Well, it probably is my favorite game pickup in March, probably. Moving on. Silent Hill Downpour, and this is one of those games that gets so much hate on the internet, on YouTube, on pretty much everywhere. And I'm a Silent Hill fan. I've always been, since the first one. And like many other gamers, I still think Silent Hill 2 is the best game, of course. But I've enjoyed every single Silent Hill game I played. Because I can't understand the people who are fans of the series, and they keep saying, oh, Silent Hill Downpour is shit because it's not as good as Silent Hill 2. Well, duh, of course it's not as good as Silent Hill 2, because that's pretty fucking hard. But that doesn't mean the other games suck. I mean, they are taking different direction with this series. The Silent Hill team, or rather Team Silent, doesn't exist anymore. They don't have any they don't do the Silent Hill games anymore after Silent Hill 4, which wasn't actually a Silent Hill game to begin with. So if we didn't have, Homecoming, Shattered Dimension, Downpour, Origins, there wouldn't be any Silent Hill at all. And those games are good. They're not fantastic as the second one, but they are good. And I actually think a lot of them actually capture the essence of the Silent Hill franchise, even though their execution is often marred with, technical difficulties, or or they miss something that is really they try to experiment with the combat, but that's, you know, Resident Evil has gone that route. So Resident Evil 4 was completely different. Resident Evil 5 was completely, you know, even more actiony, and they've done Operation Raccoon City, and they've done, you know, the Game Boy game, which was completely different, and they've done the Gun Survivor games. But come on, it's just offshoots. It's more of the same world. Are you sure we don't want this? I sure as hell do. And I actually think this was a pretty good game. Is it as good as the Silent Hill 1? No. 2? No. 3? 4? No. The Team Silent games is of course the best ones. But the Team Silent won't be making anymore, it seems. So I'm just happy someone will. And I thought this was a great game. It's got so many unfair, unjust reviews. You know, the game trailers review, which was hilarious, didn't mention that there was no radio in the game. Actually, when you pick up a walkie-talkie, that works exactly like the radio in the very first sequence of the game. And even if you miss that, you can pick up a radio later in the game, a walkie-talkie. And it's not even all that combat centric as Homecoming was. You can run from all the enemies if you want. I couldn't understand most of the criticism. I think Daniel Licht is doing a great job, even though he can't make he's not an Akira Yamaoka. He doesn't get that really industrial, gritty feel, but it's spooky nonetheless. And all this shit about Korn making, it's the credit music. You can skip that. It's not like Korn is playing when you're running around in the foggy Silent Hill. Come on, give this a break. I actually enjoyed this quite a lot. I've been playing it non-stop since I got it, and I got it just 2 days ago. And I've completed it twice. And I really wanted to see all the endings, so I'm still going through it, and I'm going for all the achievements if I can, you know. And I really enjoyed it. It's actually one of the better Silent Hill games of the newer ones. Homecoming, Origins, and Shattered Dimensions. But I have to tell you that I enjoyed all of those games, even though I think they're not even close to Silent Hill 2. But that doesn't mean, I mean, all games, all series have better games than other parts in the series. So it's the same with Metal Gear. I'm not really a fan of Metal Gear Solid 2, but you know, I just have to live with that. I didn't go apeshit and send suicide messages to what's his name? Okay, that's embarrassing. Well, you know who does Metal Gear. What the hell is his name? Oh, never mind. Anyway, the very next game is, of course, Silent Hill HD Collection. And I haven't tried this one out yet, so I won't be giving you any impressions of it, but both of these games are great, you know, Silent Hill 2 and 3. The originals are great, but I've heard a lot of people being displeased with the HD Collection, and it's supposed to be a technical mess with stuttering and lag and sound disappearing and sound loops and well, a lot of strange things. I've heard that the PS3 version is especially marred with these difficulties, and it's a crying shame actually that the PS3 still gets games that are next to unplayable. But I've heard the Xbox 360 version has these flaws as well. They're just not as destroying, so to speak. But I haven't tried this one out yet, so can't really tell you much about it. But I probably will soon when I've completed Downpour. And of course, I also picked up Mass Effect 3 in March, and this is a collector's edition. And I played through it, and I saved the Earth, and so I didn't really save the Earth. A lot of us really don't know what happened. Excuse me. And Well, I still think Mass Effect 3 is the weakest part in the entire series. I still think the first one is the best. In close with the second, of course. A lot of improvements in the second makes it really, stand out. But I really like the, planetary exploration of the first one, and the beginning saga. I really liked it when you were introduced to these aliens and this world for the very first time. And Mass Effect 3, it's not bad by any means. It's really good. Especially the action is really good. But what I did not like was that it felt a lot. It felt streamlined. I was really expecting something very, very, epic of the third edition. And of course, I think a lot of us fans, we have had so high expectation of this game that it's hard not to feel a little, just a bit disappointed. Even though the game was good, I was just sitting there and yeah, this is awesome. But it was the fate of the galaxy, and we saw one Hanar, and where was all the races, and why the most important thing was there was no closure. Of course, everyone has been bitching about the ending, and this whole indoctrination theory that is going around. When I completed the game, that was exactly what I thought when I didn't know the game was end, but I played through the end, but I didn't know that was the end. I was oh yeah, I think this is some sort of indoctrination. Now Shepard is going to wake up, snap out of it, and we're going to save Earth, and we're going to get closure, and we're going to get to see what happens to Tuchanka and everything. And the game ends. Because I really didn't have any problem with the ending scene, because I all thought it was this indoctrination thing. It was a dream sequence, sort of. But then that was the end. But of course I know that wasn't the end, because I think BioWare has been planning this all along to release the ending as a DLC. Since, as soon as you complete the game, there's a little box that pops up, wow, buy more DLC and enjoy being such a cool guy. And there was the ending. There was no ending. Actually, the end of the game was not good at all. But it wasn't an ending. It didn't, it didn't tie up any loose ends. It didn't. So I really hope that I'm not wrong here, and that there was another ending planned to be released as when Shepard wakes up or whatever. But aside from that, I still think there was even less exploration than in the earlier two titles. And even though you just scanned planets in the second one and had the loyalty mission, you still had those. In this game, you don't really have a lot. The N7 missions are just single-player, multiplayer maps, and the you didn't really have all these awesome missions, and all the scanning in this game was just to get some more assets. That didn't even really matter much, because you didn't, during the ending battle, you didn't really see any Volos bombers or, whatever the stuff you got for them. The Geth fleet, and, it was not quite what we expected, I think, but still a great game. And I think they can, if they release some really quality DLC for this, where they tie up some loose ends. We want to see what happens to Tuchanka. Will Rex have a baby son or a baby daughter perhaps, and what will happen to will Earth be rebuilt, and what did the Hanar do during the conflict, and all that stuff. So yeah, I really hope BioWare releases some quality DLC. The DLC for Mass Effect 2 wasn't really all that bad, but I think it will be more of an undertaking to fix the holes that a lot of us fans feel are missing from the experience. So yeah, it will be nice to see if they manage to pull that through. Anyway, that was all the games that I picked up in March. I know I'm missing a few of the new releases, and of course I miss a whole lot of retro games as well, but I can't pick up all of those at once. And in April there will be some other new cool releases, and a few of the releases from March will probably show up in the April video, since a few of the games haven't arrived yet, so I can't show them to you. But yeah, that was pretty much it. So remember to stay tuned next month, and I will probably have to do some collection video updates soon, from the collection, you know, show my 3DS collection, my DS collection. I actually had someone PM me about he messaged me about the 3DS, because a lot of people are now, it's been a year since the 3DS was released, and a lot of people have been posting videos about it and about their collection and the games and what they think about the system, and I think that might be something I would be interested in doing. But a lot of times when I feel like maybe I should be making a video because, you know, I want to do something, I still kind of end up in front of a really awesome video game of some sort. So it's just hard. But that's it, guys, and I'll be seeing you.